The modern multifamily real estate sector has produced many operators who focus on acquisitions and capital. Fewer have spent years inside the operational details that determine long-term performance. Among those who have, Tim Bratz stands out for building a large-scale portfolio while remaining deeply involved in how properties actually function day to day. As founder of Legacy Wealth Holdings, he oversees a vertically integrated platform that includes internal property and asset management across thousands of units in multiple states. That operational exposure shaped how he viewed the industry's most persistent challenges. Growth brought complexity. Portfolios expanded. Teams grew larger and more distributed. Systems multiplied. What began as manageable inefficiencies slowly turned into structural problems that affected visibility, accountability, and financial outcomes. Rather than treating those issues as unavoidable costs of scale, Bratz approached them as problems that could be addressed through clearer systems and better alignment between people and data. This viewpoint has ultimately taken him outside of traditional real estate and moved into the tech industry, not necessarily as a way to pivot from owning property but rather as an extension of owning property. He believes operational discipline is almost as important as capital strategy when managing real estate portfolios, particularly when they get larger and margins become tighter. The years spent running units across multiple markets exhibited several common themes. These issues were prevalent for different types of properties managed by various groups and included the lack of integration of multiple software systems utilized by property management teams. The systems operated in silos, e.g., email, spreadsheets, task management, accounting, and property management team meetings tended to center around reconciling differences in data between the systems instead of focusing on solving the underlying issues themselves. According to Bratz, poor property management created a larger drag on performance than most external market forces combined. Missed renewals, delayed maintenance, payroll inefficiencies, and budget drift rarely appeared overnight. They emerged gradually, often going unnoticed until they showed up as reduced net operating income. The root cause was rarely effort or intent. It was fragmentation. This fragmentation also made accountability difficult. When information is spread across systems, it becomes harder to know who owns which decisions. Problems linger longer. Small issues grow. Over time, operators lose confidence in their reporting and begin managing by instinct instead of evidence. These patterns repeated often enough that Bratz began to see them as structural flaws rather than isolated mistakes. The initial step toward adopting technology occurred before there was any standardized or applied software approach. An investor attending the company's property management meetings asked about developing a more efficient way to perform those functions, and the only honest response then was that no, there were not. Each of the current technologies addressed separate jobs but would not do so for the entire operation and did not offer a single point of reference amongst all owners, managers, and vendors. That moment became the starting point for Smart Management, a platform designed to bring core property management functions into one centralized environment. Marketing, leasing, task tracking, expenses, communication, and reporting would no longer exist in separate silos. The goal was not to add features for the sake of complexity. It was to reduce the friction created by disconnected systems. The platform was shaped by real operational pain points rather than abstract product theory. Each feature reflected a problem that had already surfaced inside an active portfolio. This grounding in lived experience helped guide decisions about what to build and what to leave out. Partnering up with an engineering software development team that is capable of understanding complicated, complex systems provided an important part of shaping the strengths of operation into the platforms of today. The lead software engineer had experience in operating under high-stakes, technical conditions, and thus approached the property management workflow with the same level of attention to reliability and clarity. This collaboration influenced how Smart Management was structured. Instead of layering tools on top of existing habits, the platform was designed to guide users toward consistent processes. Communication flows were simplified. Data inputs were standardized. Visibility was prioritized across roles, from ownership to on-site staff to outside contractors. For Bratz, the collaboration reinforced the idea that good technology does not replace people. It supports them. Systems should make it easier to do the right work and harder to miss important signals. When software aligns with how teams actually operate, adoption becomes less about training and more about utility. One of the central challenges in property management is maintaining clarity as portfolios expand. What works for 50 units often breaks at 500 or 5,000. Smart management was built with this scaling reality in mind. Rather than assuming growth would be linear, the platform accounts for the way small inefficiencies compound over time. Features focus on surfacing trends early. Budget variance alerts, renewal tracking, and task visibility allow operators to address issues before they impact performance. By centralizing communication, teams spend less time searching for information and more time acting on it. This shift has meaningful financial implications, particularly for operators managing multiple properties across different markets. Tim Bratz has emphasized that these design choices were not theoretical. They were responses to challenges experienced firsthand. Every major function exists because it solved a problem that had already appeared inside legacy wealth holdings. Bratz's leadership approach reflects his background as both an operator and an educator. Through Legacy Family Mastermind, he has worked closely with entrepreneurs seeking to build financial freedom through real estate. Coaching reinforced the importance of clarity and usability. If a concept is too complex to explain simply, it is unlikely to be applied consistently. This mindset carried into the tech space. Feature adoption matters more than feature volume. Tools that go unused create no value. The focus remains on building systems that teams want to engage with daily because they make work more manageable and decisions more informed. By staying involved in both ownership and education, Bratz maintains a feedback loop that keeps product development grounded. Insights from operators inform platform refinements. Platform data informs coaching conversations. The two reinforce each other rather than existing as separate ventures. While property management remains the initial focus, the long-term vision for smart management extends into other asset-based businesses where visibility and accountability are critical. As portfolios diversify and operational demands increase, similar challenges emerge across sectors. Disconnected systems. Unclear ownership of tasks. Delayed insight into performance. The platform's structure allows for adaptation without abandoning its core principles. Centralized communication. Consistent data. Clear accountability. These elements translate across industries where owners need confidence in what is happening inside their operations without adding layers of oversight. This approach reflects a broader shift in how experienced operators think about technology. Rather than viewing software as a separate industry, they see it as infrastructure that supports disciplined execution. For Bratz, entering the tech sector did not mean stepping away from real estate. It meant extending the same ownership mindset into another domain. Property owners are accustomed to thinking in terms of risk, return, and long-term durability. Applying those principles to software leads to different priorities than those driven solely by growth metrics. The emphasis remains on solving practical problems, improving decision-making, and supporting sustainable scale. As more operators adopt integrated systems, the gap between perceived performance and actual performance narrows. Decisions become less reactive. Surprises become less frequent. Control improves even as complexity increases. These outcomes reflect the original motivation behind building the platform. Reduce friction. Improve clarity. Support better execution. Tim Bratz's experience managing residential properties provides him with operational knowledge that he can use to develop technology thoughtfully. Through his work with talented engineers, he's been able to connect two separate industries, property management and technology. This has resulted in a real estate management platform built on actual use instead of theoretical concepts and a team of leaders who operate based on what they have done rather than what they think could be done. As the business of real estate operation continues to expand and become complicated, there is an increased need for integration among disparate systems. Operators who are knowledgeable in both parts of this equation will be in a great position to create innovative solutions that will define the next segment of this market.